Following the destruction of Sokovia during the Avengers battle with Ultron in 2015, as well as the deaths of dozens of innocent people during the battle with Crossbones in Nigeria the following year, many of the world's nations gathered together and wrote the Sokovia Accords, enacting a set of rules and regulations for enhanced individuals. However, during the United Nations signing ceremony in Austria, the Vienna International Center was bombed, killing many, including King T'Chaka of Wakanda. Although the terrorist Helmut Zemo was behind the attack, it was blamed on the deadly assassin Winter Soldier, previously known as Bucky Barnes, the childhood friend of Steve Rogers. Already at odds over the merits of the Sokovia Accords, the hunt for Winter Soldier further divided the Avengers, as Captain America was convinced of his friend's innocence. Determined to learn the truth, Captain America gathered together his allies, including Winter Soldier, Falcon, Hawkeye, and Scarlet Witch. Yet because they were helping a wanted fugitive and working outside the law, Iron Man was ordered to arrest them, and so gathered together his own team, including Vision, War Machine, Black Widow, Black Panther, and Spider-Man. Believing that they needed additional support for the approaching conflict, Captain America recruited Scott Lang, also known as Ant-Man, recommended by Falcon, who once faced him in combat. Eager to help an American hero like Steve Rogers, Ant-Man enthusiastically agreed to join them, without informing his mentor Hank Pym, or his girlfriend Hope Van Dyne, who wore her own suit and was known as the Wasp. These two opposing Avengers factions then collided at a German airport, where Ant-Man introduced himself by returning Captain America's shield after it was stolen by Spider-Man. During the ensuing battle, Ant-Man faced off against Black Widow and made himself small enough to ride an arrow shot by Hawkeye in order to enter Iron Man's suit and damage it from the inside. Needing a distraction, Ant-Man used his suit's regulator to grow into Giant Man, allowing Captain America and Winter Soldier to reach a Quinjet and escape. In the aftermath of the battle, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon were arrested, while War Machine was badly injured, leaving his legs paralyzed. Continuing their investigation, Captain America soon proved Winter Soldier's innocence, capturing the true culprit Helmut Zemo. However, even after the terrorist was captured, the Avengers remained divided, with Captain America breaking his allies out of prison before going into hiding. Yet because Hawkeye and Ant-Man both had families and could not simply disappear, they chose to turn themselves in, making deals to retire and serve a sentence under house arrest. Although Scott's family were willing to forgive his criminal behavior, believing that he was legitimately willing to leave it behind and focus on being a father to his daughter Cassie, Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne were less understanding, as they were soon targeted by the FBI for their association with Ant-Man, becoming fugitives when they fled. Yet while they lost their home and freedom, Hank and his daughter were able to rescue much of their research, as it was kept in a mobile lab, an entire building that could be shrunk down to the size of a suitcase. Cutting off ties with Scott Lang, they continued their research into the quantum realm, hoping to find a way to bring back the original Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, lost decades earlier. And after nearly 2 years of work, their efforts paid off by constructing a tunnel which would allow Hope to enter the quantum realm and extract her mother. Once completed, they powered up the tunnel, only for it to quickly overload and shut down. However, for a brief moment the connection was successfully established, allowing Janet Van Dyne to send a message through Scott Lang, having become entangled with him during his time in the quantum realm several years earlier. When Scott Lang informed them that he had a vivid dream about finding a little girl hiding in a dresser, they realized it was a memory of Janet and her daughter, believing this meant she was still alive. Although Scott was prohibited from leaving his home, Hope set up a decoy, allowing for Ant-Man to once again take his place by the Wasp's side. In an effort to secure a necessary component to keep the tunnel functioning and stable, they made an enemy of Sonny Birch, a black market tech dealer determined to acquire their research. And while this made their work more difficult, they faced further challenges when they were attacked by an enhanced individual known as Ghost, with the ability to phase and pass through solid objects. She too sought to steal the mobile lab, hoping to use their technology to cure her molecular disequilibrium, acquired after an accident in her father's lab, where he experimented with research originally developed under Hank Pym at S.H.I.E.L.D. After a number of brief battles between the competing factions, Scott recruited his friends at Ex-Con Security to help secure the lab, eventually allowing them to complete the tunnel when Janet took possession of Scott's body and helped complete the calculations. However, with Ant-Man and the Wasp busy fighting Ghost, it fell to Hank Pym to put on a suit and travel into the quantum realm to find and bring back his long-lost wife, who they soon realized had acquired new powers during her time away. Janet Van Dyne then used these new quantum abilities to stabilize Ghost's energy, saving her from the immediate threat to her life. Meanwhile, Sonny Birch was arrested for his crimes, while Scott Lang was not, having successfully hid his involvement from law enforcement, allowing him to complete his 2 years of house arrest to become a free man. Having repaired his relationship with Hope and her family, Scott then continued to serve as the Ant-Man alongside the Wasp, and aided in their research, soon sent back into the quantum realm to retrieve a sample they might use to cure Ghost permanently. However, when Ant-Man completed his mission and asked to be brought back, the countdown ended in silence, as this exact moment coincided with the victory of Thanos at the Battle of Wakanda, collecting all 6 Infinity Stones to exterminate half the population of the universe. Unfortunately, this happened to include Hank, Janet, and Hope, who all vanished into black ash, leaving Ant-Man trapped in the quantum realm. Love audiobooks? Then be sure to check out Audible, where they have the world's largest collection available. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below and get 2 free audiobooks to start out. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Kristen Greeneyes of the Company of the Cat, Fred Heartless, Knight of Iron and Ice, The Spectral Knight, and Sigvald Mammothsbane. If you'd like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and click on the links to see more.